At 2 a.m., two police detectives knocked on my door and said 6 words that destroyed me. Your son murdered your wife, sir. Wait, stop before I lose it completely. Tell me, where are you watching this from? What time is it where you are? Drop your location in the comments right now. I need to know I'm not alone in this. And please, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to reach 10,000 subscribers before the end of this month, and with your support we can get there. This channel is becoming a safe place for men like us, men who've been through hell, men who need to be heard. I need you right now, because what I'm about to tell you, I don't know how to carry it alone. My name is Robert Harrison. I'm 62 years old. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. And 3 years ago, my wife Sarah died in what everyone, including me, thought was a tragic accident. Until tonight, when I found out my son pushed her down the stairs, then spent 3 years living with me, comforting me, planning to kill me next. I can't breathe right now. I'm literally shaking as I'm telling you this. Sarah was 59 when she died. We'd been married for 38 years. High school sweethearts. She was my everything. The detectives just left 20 minutes ago. They arrested Michael, our son, at a bar downtown. He's 37 years old now. He was 34 when he killed his mother. I need to start from the beginning. Because if I don't tell someone this story right now, I'm going to lose my mind. Quick pause. If you're feeling that knot in your stomach right now, that anger, that heartbreak, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to hit 10,000 subscribers before the end of this month, and every single one of you matters. You're not just a number. You're part of this family. This story gets so much darker. I promise you won't believe where this goes. Back to what happened. 3 years ago on a Tuesday night, I was at my weekly poker game. I got home around 11 p.m. Michael's car was in the driveway. He was living in our guest house at the time. When I walked in, he was sitting on the couch, head in his hands, crying. Dad, something happened to Mom. The paramedics were already there. Sarah was at the bottom of the basement stairs. They said she'd fallen. Hit her head on the concrete floor. She was already gone by the time I got there. I held her hand. It was still warm. Michael stood behind me, his hand on my shoulder. I found her, Dad. I came to ask if she wanted coffee and she was just lying there. I called 911 immediately. I tried CPR. I tried everything. The police came, asked questions, took photos. They ruled it an accidental death. Sarah had been taking medication for vertigo. The basement stairs were steep, and she'd been carrying a laundry basket. It made sense. Horrible, tragic, but it made sense. At the funeral, Michael held me while I sobbed. We'll get through this together, Dad. It's just you and me now. He moved into the main house with me after that. I don't want you to be alone, he said. For 3 years, he was the perfect son. Attentive, caring, always checking on me. About 6 months after Sarah died, he suggested I update my will, just to make sure everything's in order, Dad. After what happened to Mom, life is fragile. You need to make sure your affairs are handled. I thought he was being thoughtful. So I made him the sole beneficiary of everything. The house, my retirement accounts, my life insurance, $2.3 million total. He cried and hugged me. I'll make sure Mom's memory lives on, Dad, I promise. I believed him. God help me, I believed every word. About a year after Sarah died, I started dating again. Her name was Jennifer. I met her at church. She was kind, patient with my grief, understanding. Michael hated her immediately. Dad, can't you see what she's doing? She's after your money. Mom's barely been gone a year and you're replacing her. Michael, that's not fair. It's disrespectful to Mom's memory. I can't believe you'd do this. Jennifer and I broke up 3 months later. The constant tension wasn't worth it. You did the right thing, Dad, Michael said when I told him. Family first, always. Then the accident started. Small things at first. I'd find my blood pressure medication mixed up with my vitamins. Wrong dosages. The rung of a ladder snapped while I was cleaning gutters. Michael had sworn he'd reinforced it the week before. My car brakes failed on the highway. I nearly crashed into a semi-truck. The mechanic said the brake line looked tampered with, but couldn't prove anything. Dad, you're getting older, Michael would say gently. Maybe it's time to think about assisted living. I could manage the house for you. Make sure everything's taken care of. I was 61 years old. I ran 3 miles every morning, but I started feeling paranoid, crazy, like I was imagining things. Until 2 weeks ago. I was cleaning out the attic and found Sarah's old laptop. I'd kept it all this time. Couldn't bring myself to throw it away. I charged it on a whim. When it powered on, her email was still logged in, and there in her drafts folder was an email she'd written to her sister Rachel the day before she died, an email that was never sent. My hands were shaking as I read it. Rachel, I need to talk to you about Michael. I found something in his room that terrifies me. Financial documents, bank statements. He's been forging Robert's signature. I think he's been stealing from us for months, maybe years. I'm going to confront him tonight when Robert goes to his poker game. I'm scared, but this has to stop. If something happens to me, the draft ended there. I sat in that attic for 2 hours. My mind was racing through every detail of that night. The guest house Michael lived in had a clear view of the basement door. Sarah died on my poker night, the only night I was gone for hours. Michael was the only one home. He said he found her right away, but the coroner's report said she'd been dead for at least an hour before paramedics arrived. I called Sarah's sister Rachel immediately. My voice was shaking. Rachel, did Sarah call you 3 years ago? The day before she died. Long silence on the other end. No, Robert, why? I actually tried calling her that day. It went straight to voicemail. Then the next morning, Michael called to tell me what happened. Why are you asking this? I hung up. I drove straight to the Charlotte Police Department. It was 9 p.m. I brought the laptop. Detective Maria Santos took my statement. She was in her 50s, sharp eyes, no nonsense. Mr. Harrison, I'm going to be honest with you. This case was closed 3 years ago. Ruled accidental. What you're showing me is circumstantial at best. Please, I begged, please just look into it. Something's not right. I can feel it. She studied my face for a long moment. Okay, give me 2 weeks. They exhumed Sarah's body. The new autopsy took 2 weeks. And tonight, December 17th, 2025, at midnight, Detective Santos knocked on my door. Michael was out. Said he was meeting friends at a bar. Mr. Harrison, Detective Santos said, standing in my doorway with 2 other officers behind her. We need to talk about your son. The new autopsy revealed something the first one missed. Defensive wounds on Sarah's hands, bruising on her upper arms consistent with being grabbed, and the angle of her head injury didn't match a simple fall down the stairs. Someone had pushed her hard, then moved her body to stage the scene. We've also been investigating Michael's finances, Detective Santos continued. He's been accessing your accounts for the past 5 years. Small withdrawals at first, then larger amounts. He's stolen approximately $340,000 from you, Mr. Harrison. The room started spinning. We have enough to arrest him tonight. But before we do, she paused. We'd like you to call him. Get him to come home. We think if you confront him with what you know, he might confess. We'll be recording everything. I looked at this detective, at the officers behind her, at my entire life, shattering into pieces I'll never put back together. My son killed my wife, then spent 3 years manipulating me, isolating me, stealing from me, waiting for me to die so he could have everything. I picked up my phone. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely dial. Let's do it. Detective Santos wired our living room with recording equipment, while I tried not to throw up. 3 officers positioned themselves outside, 2 more in unmarked cars down the street. This was my son, the boy I taught to ride a bike, the kid I took to baseball games every Saturday, the teenager I helped with homework, the man who murdered his mother and was planning to murder me. I dialed Michael's number. He answered on the 3rd ring. Music and voices in the background. Dad, everything okay? It's late. His voice was so casual, so normal, like he wasn't a monster. I need you to come home, Michael. Right now. I'm having drinks with... Now, Michael, it's about your mother. Silence. Then, I'll be there in 20 minutes. Detective Santos nodded at me. You're doing great, Mr. Harrison. When he gets here, just talk to him naturally. Ask him about that night. We need him to slip up. We need him to admit what he did. 18 minutes later, headlights pulled into the driveway. Michael came through the front door looking concerned. Dad, what's going on? You sounded panicked. He stopped when he saw my face. Sit down, Michael. Dad, you're scaring me. What happened? I found your mother's laptop. I watched his face carefully. His expression didn't change, but his hand tightened on his car keys. Okay, that's great, Dad. I know you've been wanting to go through her things. I found the email, Michael. The one she was writing to Aunt Rachel, the day before she died. Now his face changed. It was subtle. A tightening around his eyes. A shift in his weight. What email? The one where she said she found financial documents in your room? Where she said you were forging my signature? Stealing from us. Michael's jaw clenched. Dad, I don't know what you think you found, but... Where she said she was going to confront you that night. The night I was at poker. The night she died. That's insane. Mom fell down the stairs. It was an accident. I found her. You found her an hour after she died, Michael. The coroner's report proves it, but you called 911 immediately. How does that work? He stood up fast. I'm not listening to this. You're having some kind of breakdown. They exhumed her body. Michael froze completely. The new autopsy shows defensive wounds, bruising on her arms, evidence that someone grabbed her, pushed her, then staged the scene to look like a fall. My son's face had gone white. You think Dad, this is crazy. Why would I? $340,000, Michael. That's how much you've stolen from me over the last 5 years. The police have all the records. He started backing toward the door. I need to go. You're not thinking clearly. We'll talk tomorrow when you've calmed down. Did you kill your mother for money? The question hung in the air. Michael's hand was on the doorknob. Then he laughed. It was a cold, bitter sound I'd never heard from him before. For money? Dad, you really don't get it, do you? Then explain it to me. He turned around fully, and the mask was completely gone. This wasn't my son anymore. This was a stranger wearing his face. She was going to ruin everything. She found the bank statements, the forged signatures. She was going to tell you. You would have cut me off, changed the will, written me out. I'd have gotten nothing. My chest felt like it was caving in. So you killed her. I didn't plan it, he said, his voice almost casual now. She confronted me that night, started screaming about how disappointed she was, how she raised me better than this, how she was going to tell you everything and let you decide my punishment. So you pushed her down the stairs. She turned her back on me, started walking toward the phone to call you, to ruin my life. I just reacted, grabbed her. She struggled. We were at the top of the stairs and she just fell, hit her head on the concrete. I couldn't breathe. I literally couldn't breathe. It was over fast, Michael continued. Then I waited, made sure she was really gone, messed up the scene a little, knocked over that plant on the landing, made it look like she tripped over her laundry basket. You waited an hour before calling 911. He shrugged. I needed time to get my story straight, and it worked. For 3 years it worked perfectly. Why stay, Michael? Why not just leave? Go anywhere? And miss out on the rest of the inheritance? Dad, you're only 62. You could live another 20, 30 years. I wasn't going to wait that long. The accidents, the medications, the brake line. You've been trying to kill me too. He smiled. Actually smiled. You're harder to kill than Mom. She trusted everyone. But you started getting suspicious after a while. That girlfriend didn't help. She was making you happy, making you want to live longer. I had to get rid of her. Jesus Christ, Michael. Don't act so shocked, Dad. You left everything to me. You made it worth it. You created this situation. He reached for the door again. But since you know now, I guess I need to disappear. You can't prove any of this. That email isn't evidence of murder. The autopsy is inconclusive. And this conversation? Your word against mine. Grief-stricken old man making accusations against his devoted son. The front door burst open. Detective Santos came in first, gun drawn. 3 officers right behind her. Michael Harrison, you're under arrest for the murder of Sarah Harrison. Michael's face went from smug to terrified in 1 second. That's not, I didn't, Dad. Tell them I didn't mean it. Tell them. An officer spun him around, pulling his arms behind his back. Handcuffs clicked. Detective Santos looked at me. We got every word, Mr. Harrison. Full confession. Michael was screaming now as they dragged him toward the door. Dad, please. I'm your son. Your only son. You can't do this to me. I stood there watching the boy I raised become the monster I never knew. I don't have a son, I said quietly, but Michael was still screaming as they pulled him outside. Into the police cars. Into the rest of his life. Detective Santos stayed behind as the cars drove away, red and blue lights disappearing down the street. Are you okay, Mr. Harrison? I wasn't. I would never be okay again. What happens now? He confessed on tape. We have the financial records, the forensic evidence. He's going away for a very long time. I nodded, numb. There's one more thing, she said quietly. She handed me a folder. We found a life insurance policy on you while investigating Michael's finances. $2 million, taken out 6 months after your wife died. You're the insured. Michael's the beneficiary. My son had been planning my murder for almost 3 years. But there's one final chapter to this story that changes everything. The trial lasted 4 weeks. Michael pleaded not guilty. His lawyers argued that the confession was obtained under duress, that I'd manipulated a grieving son who was in shock. But the evidence was overwhelming. The forensic accountant testified about the $340,000 in stolen money, showed the jury forged signatures, systematic theft going back 5 years. The medical examiner explained the defensive wounds on Sarah's hands, the bruising pattern on her arms, the angle of impact that proved she didn't simply fall. And they played the recording. All of it. Michael's voice cold and casual. She was going to ruin everything. I just reacted. I waited to make sure she was really gone. I had to leave the courtroom. I couldn't watch the jury's faces as they heard my son confess to murdering his mother. In the hallway, Sarah's sister Rachel found me. She was crying. "Robert, I'm so sorry. If she'd just sent that email to me, it's not your fault, Rachel. I should have pushed harder when I couldn't reach her that day. I knew something felt wrong. I felt it in my gut." We stood there together. Two people who'd loved Sarah, destroyed by the person who should have loved her most. The defense tried to paint Michael as a victim of mental illness, a son who'd snapped under pressure. But the prosecution brought in the mechanic who'd examined my car. He testified that the brake line had been deliberately cut with a blade. My doctor confirmed that my medications had been tampered with at least twice in the past year, mixed with other drugs that could have caused a fatal interaction. They showed Michael's internet search history. How long does someone take to die from a fall? Undetectable poisons. Life insurance payout timeline after death. How to stage an accident. He'd been planning. Calculating. Patient. On day 16, I testified. The prosecutor asked me to describe Sarah, our marriage, Michael's childhood. "He was a good kid," I said, my voice breaking. Or I thought he was. I don't know when he changed, or if he was always like this and I just couldn't see it. Then the defense attorney cross-examined me. "Mr. Harrison, isn't it true that you favored your wife over your son? That Michael felt neglected?" "That's not true." "Isn't it true that you and Sarah discussed cutting Michael out of your will before she died?" "No, that never happened." "So you're saying your son killed his mother for money?" "He didn't. I even know he would inherit." I looked directly at Michael. He was staring at the table, refusing to meet my eyes. "My son killed his mother because he's entitled, because he wanted what wasn't his, and because he knew she was the only one brave enough to hold him accountable for what he'd become." The defense attorney objected, but the judge allowed it. I continued. "And then he spent 3 years pretending to grieve with me, while planning to kill me too, while stealing from me, while making sure I was isolated from anyone who might have protected me. Your Honor, this is..." "While sleeping in my house, eating my food, and waiting for me to die so he could have everything." Michael looked up at me then, and for just a second I saw real emotion, pure rage. Rage that I'd survived, that I'd figured it out, that I'd destroyed his perfect plan. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. Guilty of first-degree murder, guilty of attempted murder, guilty of fraud and embezzlement. At sentencing, the judge gave him life without parole. Michael didn't cry, didn't show any emotion at all, but as they led him away in chains, he looked at me one last time and mouthed, "I should have killed you first. That was 8 months ago. Here's where I am now. I sold the house in Charlotte. Couldn't stay there. Every room had memories of Sarah. Every corner had evidence of Michael's betrayal. I moved to Asheville. Smaller place. Mountain views, peace. The money Michael stole was partially recovered. Insurance companies are still fighting over policies taken out with fraudulent intent. I don't care about the money anymore. Rachel and I talk every week now. She helps me remember Sarah the way she really was, before Michael took her away from us. I'm in therapy twice a week. PTSD, the therapist says. Survivor's guilt. Complicated grief. Some days are better than others. Jennifer, the girlfriend Michael drove away, called me 3 months ago. She'd seen news coverage of the trial. "Robert, I'm so sorry. I had no idea what you were going through." "Neither did I. We've been talking, taking it slow. She understands that I'm broken in ways I'm still discovering. But here's the thing that keeps me up at night. Michael has been writing to me from prison. Letters I don't open. His lawyer contacted me last month. Said Michael wants to talk, wants to explain, wants closure. I burned that letter too, because here's what I've learned. Some people are born broken, or they break along the way, and no amount of love, attention, or sacrifice can fix them. I gave Michael everything. Sarah gave him everything, and he killed her for it. He would have killed me too. I have to live with the fact that I raised a murderer, that I missed every sign, that I trusted him when Sarah's instincts screamed the truth, but I also have to live. And that's what I'm doing now, living. For Sarah, who didn't get to. For myself, who almost didn't. But there's one final thing I need to tell you. Something that happened 3 weeks ago that changes everything again. 3 weeks ago, Detective Santos called me. "Mr. Harrison, we need to talk. Something came up during Michael's prison intake interview." My stomach dropped. "He's not getting out." "No, nothing like that. But his cellmate contacted us. Said Michael's been talking, bragging actually. I drove to Charlotte the next day. Met Detective Santos in the same conference room where this nightmare started. Mr. Harrison, your wife wasn't his first victim. The room tilted. What? She slid a folder across the table. Photos of a young woman with dark hair and a bright smile. Amanda Pritchard, Michael's girlfriend in college. She died 12 years ago in a single-vehicle car accident. Lost control on a mountain road. The case was ruled accidental. Michael was with her? No, he was in class that day. Solid alibi. But according to his cellmate, Michael admitted to tampering with her brake lines the night before. Made it look like mechanical failure. I couldn't process this. Why would he kill his girlfriend? She was pregnant. Wanted to keep the baby. Michael was 23 and didn't want to be trapped. Just as he told his cellmate, another detective spoke up. We've reopened the Amanda Pritchard case. With modern forensic techniques, we might be able to prove tampering now. There's more, Detective Santos said quietly. Your father. My father died 7 years ago. Heart attack. He was 71 years old. What about him? Michael told his cellmate he helped him along. Your father was changing his will to leave money to charity instead of family. Michael found out and was furious. My father had a heart attack in his sleep. Multiple witnesses confirmed. Your father was on blood thinners after his first heart attack, correct? I nodded slowly. Michael was living with you at the time. He had access to your father's medications. According to the cellmate, Michael crushed up his own blood pressure, pills, and mixed them into your father's daily medication. Created a deadly drug interaction. I stood up so fast my chair fell backwards. Why is he confessing to all this? Why would he tell anyone? Because he's a narcissist, Mr. Harrison. He's proud of what he did. In prison where he has nothing else. His crimes are the only thing that make him special. The only thing that gives him power. I sat back down. Or collapsed. I'm not sure which. How many others? We don't know yet. We're investigating several deaths connected to Michael over the years. A former boss who fired him. A roommate who threatened to evict him. All ruled accidents or natural causes at the time. Detective Santos leaned forward. Mr. Harrison, we need your help. We're building additional cases, but we need you to visit Michael in prison. Get him to talk. He might confess to you. No. I know it's asking a lot. No, I don't care what else he's done. I never want to see him again. I meant it when I said it, but that night I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Amanda Pritchard's parents. They'd spent 12 years thinking their daughter died in an accident, just like I spent 3 years thinking Sarah died in an accident. They deserved the truth. So I called Detective Santos the next morning. I'll do it, one visit. That's all. Mountain View Correctional Facility is 2 hours from Asheville. I wore the same suit I'd worn to Sarah's funeral. I wanted Michael to remember what his choices had cost. They led me to a visiting room. Glass partition, phones to communicate. Then Michael walked in. Orange jumpsuit, hands cuffed, thinner and older than I remembered. He sat down and picked up the phone immediately. I didn't pick mine up. I let him sit there for 30 seconds, begging, desperate, mouthing, "Dad, please." Then I picked up the receiver. "Hello, Michael." His eyes filled with tears. "Dad, thank God. I've been writing you for months. Did you get my letters?" I burned them. His face crumpled. "I know you're angry. I know I hurt you. But I'm still your son. I don't have a son. Please, please just listen. I've been thinking about everything. About what I did. I was sick, Dad. I wasn't thinking clearly. But I'm getting help now, therapy, medication. Tell me about Amanda Pritchard." Michael's face went blank. "Who?" "Your girlfriend from college. The one who died in a car accident after you cut her brake lines." He shook his head. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Tell me about my father. About how you killed him with a drug interaction." "Dad, someone's lying to you. Making things up. Your cellmate told the police everything, Michael. Everything you bragged about. How smart you were. How you got away with it for years. I watched him realize his mistake. The fake tears disappeared. The desperate son act vanished. And the real Michael came back. Well, he said, leaning back in his chair, I guess there's no point pretending anymore. How many, Michael? How many people have you killed? He smiled. You want a confession? You want to make this easier for them? I want to understand why. Why? He laughed. Because I could, Dad. Because people are so easy to manipulate. Amanda was going to trap me with a baby. Grandpa was going to waste his money on charity. Mom was going to expose me. And me? You were in the way. The last obstacle between me and complete financial freedom. I felt strangely calm. Like I'd gone past anger into something else entirely. Was any of it real, Michael? Did you ever love us? He considered this seriously. I loved what you could give me. Does that count? No? Then no, I didn't. You were all just useful until you weren't. I nodded slowly, and then I pulled out a small recording device from my pocket, set it on the counter where he could see it. Michael's eyes widened. Is that a recorder? Yes. Detective Santos got permission from the warden. Everything you just said is admissible evidence in court. His face went purple with rage. You manipulated me. You set me up. I learned from the best. He slammed his fist against the glass. You self-righteous bastard. You think you're better than me? Where do you think I learned to lie? I watched you for years. Dad watched you lie to Mom, fake being interested. In my life when you couldn't care less. I loved you, Michael. Even now, knowing everything, I still wish I could have saved you. That stopped him. For just a second, I saw something that might have been genuine emotion. Then it was gone. If you loved me, he said quietly, you wouldn't have done this. If you loved any of us, we'd still be alive. I stood up. Goodbye, Michael. I won't be visiting again. Wait. But I was already walking away. Behind me, I could hear him screaming into the phone. Threats, pleas, curses. I didn't turn around. That recording helped convict Michael of 2 additional murders and 1 attempted murder. He's now serving 3 consecutive life sentences. No possibility of parole. Amanda Pritchard's parents called me last month, crying, thanking me. We knew, her mother said through tears. We always knew it wasn't an accident, but no one believed us. Thank you for giving us answers, for giving us justice. I'm 63 years old now. I've lost my wife, my father, and the son I thought I knew, but I'm still here. I've started a foundation in Sarah's name. It helps families affected by domestic violence and family-perpetrated crimes, legal support, therapy, advocacy, because Sarah tried to protect me. She found the truth and paid with her life. The least I can do is help others find their truth before it's too late. Jennifer and I are building something real now. She understands that I'll always carry this weight. You didn't create the monster, she told me. You just loved the boy he pretended to be. Some nights I still wake up replaying Michael's childhood, looking for signs I missed, but mostly I'm learning to forgive myself. So let me ask you something, because I genuinely want to know. Did I do the right thing by recording that confession? Should I have just walked away and let those other families live without answers? Was it wrong to manipulate my own son, even if he's a monster, to get justice for his victims? What would you have done in my place? Drop your answers in the comments. I need to hear from you. This is a safe place, no judgment. Just real talk from real people. And before you go, 1. Hit that like button if you believe justice matters more than family loyalty. 2. Subscribe to this channel. We're pushing to reach 10,000 subscribers before the end of this month. With your support, we can get there. This channel is becoming a safe place for men like us. Men who've been through hell. Men who need to be heard. 3. Comment truth over blood. If you believe doing the right thing matters more than protecting family secrets. Some people will say I betrayed my son, that a real father would have protected him no matter what. But I am a real father, and real fathers protect the innocent, even when the guilty share their name. This is True Gist Stories, where every father's story matters. And right now at 4:23 in the morning, your support is the only thing keeping me standing. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. You're not alone, and neither am I.